Shalom, family. How's everybody today? Family, I was just sitting here thinking about how the gentile nations and all the places where we reside now in this world, especially America, feel like the Most High is judging them unfairly. Okay? And so, thinking about it, I just wondered, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna see if that's true or not. Maybe they're right. Who knows? As followers, of the Most High and His Word, then we have to judge things fairly, don't we? Okay? So we wouldn't want anybody to be judged unfairly and condemned. So let's see if they're right, about being judged unfairly by the Most High. After all, there were probably many things they done for our betterment, right? So let's just look into it and see if this is the case. They may have a case. I don't know, may have a point. So let's just see. We start with West Africa. We were over there, nothing much going on, we probably keeping Shabbat and the feast days and just kind of uneventful existence, so to speak. And so these good people came over there and seen that our lives were boring and we didn't have gainful employment. So they thought to themselves, well, you know what, let's take them to America and give them employment, and make their lives meaningful and productive. So they did, they gave us a free boat ride to America. Free of charge. We didn't have to pay a penny. And guess what? We were ungrateful. Expense paid. We were so ungrateful that some of our ancestors chose to dive overboard into the ocean. They were so ungrateful, that these people were giving us a free trip. Talk about ungrateful. You know how much it would cost now for a ship ride back to the continent? It costs a lot of money, but they did it free of charge. And we complained and griped all the way over here. All right, and when we got here, they decided that we need to know their language because they didn't want us to feel left out, that we couldn't communicate with the people of this land. So they taught us our language and just told us, quit using that language y'all got, so you can communicate with us, and be a part of this society. We don't want you to feel left out because you can't communicate, all right? And those names y'all got, they're complicated. Let's give y'all some simple names, like Toby and Tom and things like, all this other stuff, this Matty Yahoo and Yochanan and Yesha Yahoo and all that. That's just confusing, and your children have trouble with those names, trying to figure out how to say them and what they mean and all that. So we just give you some simple names that really don't have a meaning to them. They don't have to remember all that. There's no meaning to Toby or Tom. So they did that for us, to help our children when they grow up, and not have to deal with that strange language we had, this Hebrew stuff. So what was wrong with that? Was that bad? Well, I don't know. I think they was helping us to communicate with them. And then they gave us a God, you know, theirs. Since the scriptures say ain't no man ever seen him, so they chose one of their own people and took a portrait of him. Okay, this is what he looks like. And so we start worshiping their image, that image that they gave us, you know. And that taught us to be obedient to anybody that looks like that, you know. Oh, well, you know, we better obey them because they look just like God, you know. So they just helped us to understand who he was and what he looked like, all right? And, you know, nowadays, we don't even appreciate that, do we? See, so maybe they were judged kind of harshly for that. I don't know. And then they was figuring out what to call us. They had many names and bywords to call us, but one that stuck was African American. They named us after two different continents, you know, and which was confusing to us, but we went along with it. We accepted it, you know, no big deal. But the confusing part to us is that if a person that's not melanated or Caucasian was born in Africa and raised in Africa, and he moved to the United States, would not he be an African American also? So it was confusing, but we got over it, no problem, you know. Of course, they had many other names they could identify us with, you know, except for Hebrew or Israelite. They had plenty of other names, no problem. So, and look what else they did for us. They taught us to be obedient, family. You know, since they had heard that we was disobeying, you know, the Elohim that we serve, you know, they gonna teach us to obey God, theirs. Okay? And so they drilled the scripture in our heads that slaves obey their masters. Or if they wanted to soften it up, you know, you servants obey your employers. You know, that was drilled into our heads until we got it. So we started doing that, you know, and taught us to forgive our enemies. No matter what they do to you, you forgive them. Okay? So we were taught that, but we were also taught that our worst enemies were the people that look just like us. So what did they do? When we started establishing our own neighborhoods and no longer working for them, since we didn't have gun manufacturing place, they sent guns into our neighborhoods to protect us from them evil people that look just like us. And see, they cared about us and they didn't want us attacked by evil folks that look like us, so they sent guns into our neighborhood so we could protect ourselves, and we did. And all that stuff is stressful, you know. Living in these places around people that look just like you and wish you harm and all that. So living in those conditions is very stressful, people. So they had the presence of mind and knew that we were living under stress, so they decided to send us something to calm our nerves. So they sent crack cocaine in the neighborhood so that we wouldn't be stressed out. We could just chill, you know. That was a medication, you know, to relieve us of the stress. So what's wrong with that? People thinking about your mental health, you know? And they taught us to be independent, you know, so we wouldn't be lazy. So when we left working for them and started establishing our own communities, They said, well, we're not going to give them any help, because that'll teach them to be dependent on us. So we'll just release them on their own and not give them anything and teach them to create on their own and, establish their own neighborhoods and businesses. And we done it in several states, And after we did it, they said, well, they need to be taught that sometimes things happen and you have to learn to get over it and start over. So they destroyed the things that we established, so that we could start over. They taught us to be resilient, and that's a good lesson. We must never quit, so that's a lesson they taught us. We just keep going, when things fail, keep going. And for goodness sake, they taught us to have amnesia, so that we wouldn't live a stressful life. Don't bring up all that stuff that happened in the past. That's bad for your mental health. Just forget about it, all right? We don't want y'all living here in this country stressed out over different things, that's way back there. So y'all get over that, all right? See, they was trying to preserve our mental status, okay? And not to mention that these folks really cared about our health, Now, they knew that we were fearfully and wonderfully made by the Most High, so we were kind of extraordinary in that area. And so what they did, since there were diseases and things in this country that they didn't have an answer to, they paid us to use our bodies as experiments so they could find a cure for certain diseases. Since they know our bodies were fearfully and wonderfully made, so they paid us so they could find a cure that would save them this world. They'd have a cure for everything by using us and paying us. They paid us now. So don't y'all get all mad talking about the experiment. Oh, they paid us, man. What they gave us a whopping $150 or something like that. Boy, back then that was a lot of money. You feed your family for a long time with $150. So they paid us. So what you griping about? They were just trying to find cures for diseases and, just tested it on us. After all, we were kind of extraordinary people health-wise. Okay? So what was wrong with that when somebody paying you to do it? It ain't like they held you at gunpoint. And then they really care. Family, that's why I don't understand why they're being judged. They really care about us. When this pestilence came about, what did they do? The first thing they do, we got to protect our melanated people. So we're going to go to their neighborhood first and make sure they're taken care of. Make sure nothing happens to them. See how that works, man? They put us in front of everybody to be treated. And we're unthankful for it, Boy, we still some ungrateful people, ain't we? And here they are putting us at the front of the line of every other people on earth, and we griping. See, it may be unjustified, to judge them like that. That's just really ungrateful. And they, out of all people, we are the only people that they gave our own Bible. They never done that for nobody else. It's called the Negro Bible. They gave us our own Bible. They've done that for nobody else, family. Just think, somebody think that much of you to give you your own Bible. Boy, you talking about some ungrateful people we are. Man. I mean, it takes money to print a Bible, you know. It takes money to do that. And they did it and gave it to us. So we'd have our own Bible, okay? With the things that they felt like we need to know. And boy, nowadays we just gripe about that. I don't know, you know. And they kept us from the stress of having to deal with the business world and legal matters, you know, when we made all these inventions and stuff, well, we didn't know nothing about the workings of business and legal stuff, you know, getting things patented. So they just, well, you know what, we don't want y'all bothered with these patents, you know, yeah. That's stressful work, you know, getting something patented and legalized, you know, and stuff. So we'll do it for you. You know, y'all just invent it and we'll make sure it gets patented, you know. For all the things that these countries use now. So they protected us business-wise, so we wouldn't have to deal with the business part of it. You know, sometimes family dealing in business situation can be kind of stressful, you know, and stuff like that, all kind of legal matters and legal wording. And so they just removed that from us so we wouldn't have to deal with it. All we had to do was just use our brains to invent things. They took care of the rest. Now, I think that was very helpful, you know, very generous of them to do that. You know, so, and then they teach you to be, to have amnesia, so you won't live a stressful life remembering things that were unpleasant in the past. So they try to teach you to get over it. Don't think about those things, you know. It's bad to live, you know, with a stressed out mind, thinking about things, you know, that happened way back there. So y'all, you know, just get over it, you know, and move on, you know. So they were always looking after our best interest, family. So indeed, they could be judged unfairly. I mean, listening to all the things that they did for us, you know. You know, we're taught to do without things and people, you know, that were close to us, you know, taught that we can live without them. So they taught us a lesson. They showed us that we could live without certain things and certain people. So this is why they separated us from our children, you know, while we was working for them, never to be seen again. So we had to learn that we could live, you know, without them. And so they was just teaching us real life lessons, family. Well, and I think that's mighty good of somebody to teach you life lessons, don't you? So, I don't know. I'm kind of confused, family. What do you think? You think the Most High kind of judged these nations unfairly after all they did for us to help us? Prepare for life, gave us all these life lessons? What do you think, family? Shalom.